Welcome, Essence Festival. I am super excited to be here. For those of you who are in the crowd, you are officially at the We Love Us stage, and we are about to kick off a powerful conversation on what it means to be values-led brand today. How many of you know that when people are buying from entrepreneurs and business owners and founders, they're not just buying a product, they're buying a piece of the person's mindset and their values. So you want to be mindful of the things that you're supporting, but more importantly, I want to give you an inside look on what it means to be a value-led brand in today's society. Now, I'm excited because more than ever, power sits with people. Consumers are not just buying from brands, they are building relationships with them. And trust is at the center of it all. As community becomes a bigger part of how brands grow, founders are navigating how to stay aligned with their values while responding to the voices around them. From customers and clients to advisors, investors, and mentors, this conversation explores what it means to be a values-led brand today. From both the founder and the consumer perspective, we'll unpack how to build trust, how to handle feedback, and how to navigate, as well as how to keep your brand grounded in what you believe in while you're growing in your community. Now listen, I'm excited for all of you who are here, but if you are walking by and you hear the sound of my voice and you have a business and you want to build better relationships with your customers or your consumers, we still got a couple of seats for you to come and join in on the conversation. So here to moderate this fabulous conversation, we have the one and only Miss Lauren Strayhorn from Noted. Let's give Lauren some love as she makes her way to the stage. All right, Lauren. As she takes her seat, we have three amazing founders who are going to give you their insight on what it means to be a values-led brand today. Joining Lauren on the stage is the one and only Miss Shaniqua Cousins of Shaniqua Cousins Worldwide. Joining Lauren and Shaniqua, we have the one and only Miss Carrita Tanner Cloud of Creativity Justified LLC. Yes, and give it up for the dress and the belt, too. The dress and the belt deserves an honorable mention, okay?
Thank
you. You are more than welcome. And last but not least, to round out this powerhouse panel conversation, we have the marvelous and the magnificent Miss Monique Curry-Mims of Civic Capital Consulting. Okay, Miss Lauren, take it away.
All right, and let's give it up for Miss Quinn Conyers, okay? A little louder, a little louder. She's been doing this all day, y'all, and all day yesterday, and she'll be gracing us with her presence tomorrow. So please do come back. Thank you all, fellow panelists, for joining me for this wonderful conversation. So I would love for each of you, and I'll introduce myself as well, but I would love for each of you to introduce yourselves, what you do, where you are, if you have a booth here, and where people can shop from you. And then also, too, what does being a values-led brand mean to you? So I'll start. My name is Lauren Strayhorn. I'm the founder and CEO of Noted. We support entrepreneurs and organizations with their community building, both online and offline, through experiences, community engagement, and programming. And so for me, being a values-led brand truly is at the root of what I do. It's my mission to support Black women entrepreneurs, to encourage more Black women consumer spending. So I want more of a mission to continue to have consumers supporting entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs continuing to support consumers. So that's really what I do. That's my value. That's why I'm here and love with the work that I do to support fellow entrepreneurs. So I'll pass it to you, Shaniqua.
All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Shaniqua Cousins of Shaniqua Cousins World Group, and I am a certified health and life coach. And I like to say I have the opportunity to help people get unstuck in their lives. And the way that I do it through cooking, coaching, health and wellness, and also media content. And so I love helping to see people really live the life they're intended to live. And I'm here at Essence because it's a part of my Live Well book tour. So I'm a couple of booths down, and you can come and visit my Live Well lounge. So thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrita Tanner Cloud. I'm the founder and CEO of Creativity Justified. We are a marketing and advertising firm based here in New Orleans. And we work with brands both nationally and internationally to provide storytelling campaigns through our production, as well as website development, software building, brand development as well. And so we are super excited to be here. If you are in the corporate space, because those are the folks that we work with, and you are looking for impactful storytelling to reach your community and audiences, we're the firm you want to work with.
I want to work with you. My name is Monique Curry-Mims, and they are excited over there. And I am the founding principal of Civic Capital Consulting. We are an international philanthropic advisory and media firm focused on helping individuals, families, and organizations build a legacy for their family and for their communities.
All right. So I would love to know, for you, all three of you, this is a group effort here that you can answer this question. For you, with your values, were they intentionally defined from the beginning of your businesses? Have they ever evolved as your businesses have grown? So talk a little bit more about the values that you all hold true to your brands. How did those kind of start, and have they evolved as you continue to grow in your businesses?
I'll take it. So I would say it was a mix of both. For me, it was about living on purpose through purpose. And so the foundation of what I do is biblically based for me. And so from that point, I really just got a connection to what I believe I was called to do. And now how can I take that and inspire others to do the same? And through years of really connecting to my purpose and being very intentional about living on purpose, I found a way to exchange value, because in all businesses, you're exchanging value for cash, essentially. And so I just love the opportunity to see people get in touch what they were designed to be here to do. And so the resources that I provide, for me, the value is really just connecting to someone through their purpose. And if I can see them, that light ignite for them, and them just really having a definitive, this is why I'm here. And even though that evolves, just like it evolves with me, getting someone on that path is so crucially important. And I just love it. I really do love it when people are connected to what they were designed to do. It literally is changing lives from the inside out for me.
I would say for me, it's always been about people, right? I love people, I love humans. And for us, we always wanted to make sure that we were touching lives and impacting lives through the work that we were doing. And so that was something that was key for me from the beginning. So we initially started working with small business owners, and people see the highlights today. They see the NFL, Microsoft, all of that, but we still get to touch small businesses each and every day. So that's what was important to me, is to say, how do we make people feel seen, valued, and heard? And when we approach our corporate partners, we're talking to them about those same values and making sure that their values are aligning with our values. We say we do not work with brands that don't do good for people, right? And so we're not going to work with the tobacco companies. We're not going to work with certain industries, because we want to work with industries that have a positive impact on their end users, on their patients, their students, their consumers. But if they're not making that positive impact, we're not going to work with them.
I mean, plus one. I think people are important. When I started Civic Capital, it was really because philanthropy is typically top down. And being in the Black community, it wasn't getting to us. It wasn't impacting us the way that it needed to be. So being community-centered was really important and was our value that we still strive on. And I think what's interesting is that has evolved, right? And we're still community-centered, but because the work that we have done or are doing is evolving, the way that shows up and is a little bit different, and allows us to be more engaging and allows us to be more impactful while still maintaining those same values.
So I'm going to ask this to you, Shaniqua. For you, a lot of businesses started in COVID, or there was pivots that were made in COVID. And so from a consumer side, because we are also consumers, right? We're business owners, but we're also consumers. For you, did you see any sort of expectations change from consumers, especially the ones that you work with, any customers that you work with since COVID, 6 years later?
I would say for me personally, coaching people, you're walking through a journey. And so I know we look for a lot of quick fix solutions. And I would say that probably was one of the most prominent ones that I've seen, people wanting to change their lives overnight, and it's just not that type of reality. Change takes time. It takes patience, and so you're talking weeks or months of coaching because habits are not formed overnight. And so just having to, I guess, usher people back into a reality of what lifestyle is it that you're intending to live, truly live, not something that you're seeing on social, not something that you're having a bird's eye view into someone's life, but what life are you intending to live, and backing them into that reality and walking them, being alongside the journey for them, and just, really backing people into the reality that quick fix solutions aren't sustainable. And they may feel good temporarily, but if you want a lifestyle, a true lifestyle that is better for you and something that you can sustain, you have to put in the work.
So for you, Carrita, how do you stay aligned to your values, especially working with so many different corporate brands who love to keep that corporate branding? They don't want to change anything, but you're also coming with your values and your branding and everything. So how do you ensure that you are striking the right balance and thinking about the people that you serve, but also the people that you're partnering and collaborating with?
That's a great question because we just encountered that in the last couple of weeks with one of our brand partners, and we do this huge NFL Guide series where we go into every community that the NFL touches, whether it's draft, Super Bowl, international games, and we go into those communities and we find local small businesses that we can amplify, right, and platform them on NFL.com or platform them on NFL One-Pass app. And we were dealing with a market that said, well, we're going to do our own guide and all the things. And I said, but yeah, it's going to be centered on the tourist businesses that people already know about, right? And the point and purpose of this is to amplify those underserved markets and those underserved communities. And so I've learned how to be very vocal, respectfully. And so I am vocal, and I give that pushback respectfully and say, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. This is our program. This is how it's going to run. And what I respect about the people that we work with in corporate is because they align with our values. They say, you know what, Carrita, you're right? And we don't want to drift away from the mission of this particular program. And so I think it's learning how to speak up for yourself, but knowing how to do it in a way where you're not, losing your stakeholders in the process, but learning how to eloquently articulate why it matters so that you can kind of get the buy-in from that stakeholder group to say, this needs to happen this way.
And Monique, I'm going to ask you a similar question because you're doing on a much larger international platform. So have there ever been any instances where you might have been challenged or you might have had to say no, again, to ensure that the values of either the work that you're doing or, again, the people that you serve are standing true to that?
Yeah, I think, as I evolved, I've learned that when, I'm a consultant, I'm being hired to come in, people are interviewing me, but I've learned that I need to interview them as well. There have been instances where, again, I'm very community driven, so our approach is facilitative, but it's grounded in what the community needs. Again, philanthropy is typically top down, so people have a solution to a problem they know nothing really about because they're not in that community. So we want to start there before we do anything. And a lot of times what the community is saying they need, that organization is like, that's not what we're trying to do. So I've also learned that I put 30-day out clauses in all my contracts now, and it's mutual. Because if I realize that you're not going down the path that the community needs and you're still trying to implement this top-down approach, you're not the kind of client that I want. And I also know that whatever I produce in the end, while yes, I'm a business and yes, I need money, I don't want to take money from an organization where that money could have gone into the community. So if you're not going to actually follow the strategy or the path that was laid out and it's just going to sit on the shelf, then what was the purpose? So being able to protect myself, to protect my values, to protect my brand is important because they're going to say Civic Capital helped us do this. And I'm like, that's not what I helped you do.
Right. And also, too, right, and that kind of leads into my next question of, It's establishing trust, right? You all are representatives of a community. You all are representing your clients. So how are you also establishing that level of trust? Like what level of importance is that for you, and how do you establish it between your consumers? Because really what this conversation is that we know consumers have a vital role in each and every day of our work. So how do you establish and build that type of trust? Anyone can answer that question.
I would say for us is relationship building. I don't think that you can establish trust with anybody without relationship building, right? And part of relationship building is communication, being held accountable, right? And so a lot of feedback that we get from our brand partners is, I tell people anybody could get the one contract, right? It's about the opportunity to have ongoing work with that brand. And the reason we're able to have that ongoing work is because we communicate, right? If we do something that we failed on our end, we're accountable, right? We say, you know what, that was our mess up. Here's the solution also. Here's how we fix it. And when you come to them with that, then that's where the trust comes in. Because you're not in this just because you want money. You're not in this just because you want the big contract. You actually care about the outcomes of what this looks like because you're holding yourself accountable. You're also being innovative, right? We're also not just saying, okay, well, we did it this way this time. We're going to do it that way every time. Because if you want to keep that contract with those big brands, you have to make sure that you are evolving, that you're being innovative. What are you bringing new and what are you bringing different this time around? Because if not, now it's going to be a competition of who has the best price, and you might get priced out, right? And so the reason we don't get priced out of those contracts is because we're always looking for ways to be innovative and creative and to bring something fresh and new and be accountable for the work that we're doing. And that's how we've been able to establish trust.
I think yes to that, and just to add, I think being your authentic self. I am who I am in any room that I go in. Sometimes my truths are hard, but they know I'm going to give them the truth, and I'm never going to sway. And a lot of my work is word of mouth referral because people trust the work and they trust the brand and they know I'm going to show up and they know I'm going to be communicative. And the next person coming in is like, I know your work. So-and-so said X, Y, and Z about you, and they expect that same level. So as long as you're always showing up as yourself, it's going to get out there. People talk, right? So people are going to know who you are and what you do. And as long as you show up that way and keep producing admirable content, admirable work, the trust builds.
Well, Monique took my answer. Because for me, number one, it's showing up as myself wherever I am, taking the time to allow people to get to know me. And because being a coach, you're being entrusted with deep secrets that people have. Whether it's an individual or an organization, you may be entrusting me with your employees. And so I want to be showing up as my truest, authentic self wherever I'm at and allowing people to make a connection. And either we are aligned or we're not, and I get to decide as well, are you a good fit for me? But most importantly, am I a good fit for you? Because I want to be along on the journey of transformation with you, but if it's not a good fit because I'm not being my authentic self, then it won't work. And so, thank you, Monique.
You're welcome.
I took it back a little bit.
It always just means that we're all thinking the same way. We're building our businesses in the same way through that, again, that rooted mission and rooted values, which, we often talk about going back in the past. We're often talking about going back to COVID, but I'm curious what you all are thinking when it comes to values-led brands. We've got, quite a few brands in here, even, future of being a values-led brand. We talked about being, community-driven, right? So what do you all think on, and anybody can take this from any order, what is for the next 5 years, being a values-led brand, your own values-led brands itself, what are you all looking to do and continue to invest in on that level?
Selfish plug. I just launched a new campaign called Give As We Grow, or Give Where We Grow, which is about giving into our communities. And I think to answer your question, we look at these other companies and ask them, what are they doing for us in our community? Are you aligned with our community? Are you aligned? We have a community. We need to start sewing into each other, into our own communities. So in the next 5 years, I'm hoping that we as a community can come together to uplift our businesses, to uplift each other, and to really stop looking for others to fix our problems when we at 250 and they never have been.
Say that part again. Because we are at 250.
We at 250, but we only been free, 160, 166? So, yeah, but we at 250, and they never been about us.
I would say for us, we just launched our foundation, CJ Cares. And CJ Cares came from the idea that we have a lot of small businesses that want to do well. They want to succeed. They want to grow. But the reality is that the resources are not there. The capital is not there. And so we know that marketing is the hugest driver for ROI for a business. But if you can't spend your money on marketing because you're trying to spend it on operations or on products, then you never take the time to be able to spend it in the areas that help you grow. And so CJ Cares is a foundation that we use for our nonprofit clients as well as small business clients. We give out grants every quarter for free marketing services. And so when they win the grant, they can apply for any service, whether it's production or website design or brand design. And we use that to say, okay, that's our investment back into our local communities so that we can continue to see businesses grow, right? It's literally that pay it forward. And so I think that part for us, and then the other thing is convincing brands that the only reason you exist is because of us, right? And so you need to pour back into us in the same way that we're giving you our dollars. Because every time we fly Delta, we give them our dollars. Every time that we head to McDonald's or wherever else, we are spending our money. And so if we're gonna spend our money with you, we need to see where you're placing value with us. And so while a lot of things have been reframed since COVID, right, I think the idea is to say, you know what, I don't really care what you call it, but you need to pour back into the communities that are supporting you. And so when we work with brands, that is our intention to say, how are we highlighting? How are we taking care of our community? How are you pouring into these businesses? And I think twofold, so having CJ Cares, but then also holding those corporate brands accountable is what we see for ourselves the next 5 years.
And so I mentioned that I'm on my book tour, but bigger than the book tour is the Live Well movement. And the movement is about going across the country, and my goal is to impact 100,000 lives. And that's primarily our lives. And so it's literally going around the country, encouraging us to be consistent and intentional with what we eat, where we eat, who we eat with, what we're doing, how we're showing up, but it starts from the inside out, not the outside in. And so that movement is intended to literally sweep across the country. So in 5 years from now, I'm hopeful and really praying that 100,000 lives are different because of the Live Well movement, and lives are truly transformed from the inside out. And that does require partnerships. I'm here because I consider this a partnership, and the other partners that we've partnered with across the country to help move the movement forward.
Well, please give it up for our panelists. Give them a round of applause. They were incredible. Quickly, because I'm over time, but I can do that. Tell everybody where they can continue to, follow you, support you all, where they can, you all mentioned campaigns, quickly, how can people continue to stay connected with you all?
Yep. So ShaniquaCousins.com for all things, but because you're here, I want to see you all in the Live Well Lounge, right down about 3 stalls down. We want to see you there. We have fresh water and books and all of the things that you can consume.
Carrita Cloud on all platforms, TikTok and all the things, and also Creativity Justified. If you want to know more about our CJ Cares initiative, you can get it on our website. And if we have any games coming up that are in your city and you want to be part of the Guide series or any activations that we're doing where your business is highlighted, click on the NFL Guide series to know where we're going next.
You can find me at civiccapitalconsulting.com to learn more about our initiative and our work, and also on social media at civic.capital.
All right, give them another round of applause. Thank you all so much. And let's give it up for Quinn, who's going to come up and introduce our next panel.